Hello, my name is Mr. Brown, and I've been asked to share some information about cancer today. First of all, what is cancer? Cancer is a disease of the cells. It's an abnormal growth of cells which tend to multiply in an uncontrollable way, and in some cases it spreads. Did you know that 1 in 3 women and 1 in 2 men will be diagnosed with cancer at some point in their life? The year 2016, there were close to 600,000 people who died of cancer. And the sad thing is, it's not always the old person that gets it and dies. Sometimes it's young people. So I want to share some things that might help us prevent it from coming our way. Now, we probably have been told that it's genetic. In many cases, it is a genetic predisposition in many cases to some people. No matter what they do in life, if dad had it or grandpa had it, there's a chance that you could get it. But there are some guidelines that have been stated that can help us prevent our cases statistically from having cancer. And the first one is make sure you don't use any type of tobacco. A lot of you have been told this through the years, but a lot of young people do dip and chew and smoke and so forth, and that just increases substantially your risk of having cancer at some point in the future, especially lung cancer and mouth cancer and things of that sort. Secondly, try to eat a healthy diet. It can ward off many types of cancer. Eating the right types of foods. Staying away from certain foods. Thirdly, maintain a healthy body weight and be physically active throughout your life, not just in PE here at school, but make it a lifestyle that you do throughout your life. Fourthly, protect yourself from the sun. And I know as many young people go to the beach and play outside and do the things they like to do under the sun, it's important to realize that those sunburns that you get in your youth, we're now finding can cause these cancers as you're in your 20s and 30s. Many say it won't happen to me, but it can. I've heard last week of a fella who is 28 years old, and he's been diagnosed with melanoma on his back, and he's going to have surgery this week and be out of work for 3 weeks because they have to cut so deep to get it out of his back. And then they don't know if it's passed to his lymph nodes. So folks, it can affect us. What can we do? We can make sure when we are out in the sun, we put that sunscreen on. We put the SPF, make sure it's high enough to ward off those UV rays. Fifthly, avoid risky behavior. A lot of you in here have had my class through the years. And we've talked about human sexuality. We've talked about the high risk of being promiscuous or not being practicing abstinence. Those risky behaviors can cause different cancers. We talked about HPV, human papillomavirus, where it can cause cervical and uterine cancer. The IV drug use, and when you're talking about the drug culture and the addictions. So there's a lot of things there that can increase the likelihood as well. Lastly, in prevention, is getting regular medical checkups. Like I've always said with my students, always know what's normal as you look in the mirror. So as you age and as you go through your life, you will know when something is abnormal just by looking. The skin, lumps, smoothness, things of that sort. So these are just some preventative steps that may help us cut down on the likelihood of having cancer someday. Lastly, they wanted me to share of people I maybe knew that had cancer. My wife's parents both died of cancer through the years. One had lung cancer, diagnosed in May, died 3.5 months later. It was fast type of cancer. Her mother, cervical uterine cancer, had surgery, seemingly thought it was in remission. A couple years later, came back, she died within 1.5 years. Folks, when you do have cancers, they try to surgically remove it. They'll radiate, they'll chemo, and then they'll see what needs to be done next. That's the negative stories. There are positive stories where people went through these procedures and now they are seemingly cancer-free. I have an aunt that was diagnosed a year ago and she went through the treatment and she is cancer-free at this point. So there are some positive stories that we hear. Next month, as we hear Relay for Life spoke about, this is set up to raise money and to celebrate the lives of the people who have seemingly beat this cancer. So take part, think about it, reflect on it, do what we can do to help raise money and awareness of cancer. Thank you.